Hello and welcome to the class. My name's Paddy. Today we're going to talk about underlining and using keywords in the reading test. If you have any questions for us after you watch this class, remember that you can click on the chat icon at the top of your page here. If you click on that icon, you will be able to send us a message with any questions that you have. This is the first class of 2 classes, and this video will last just over 20 minutes. First, we're going to look at how to underline keywords in the question. Then we're going to move on to looking at matching synonyms to the keywords. So by the end of this video, you will be more aware of how to use these skills in the reading test. During this video, there will be some questions for you to answer. You can find these below the video. I will tell you when you need to answer them, and I'll give you about 10 to 15 seconds to do so. Okay, let's get started. So, what makes a useful keyword? Well, keywords are the words in the sentence which contain only the most important information. If we were to remove the other words, then the keywords by themselves should be enough to understand the meaning of the sentence. Examples of words which are not keywords would be things like articles, the verb to be, prepositions often. That means keywords are very often nouns, so the main things or people in a sentence. But they could of course be verbs or verb phrases. They can be adjectives if those are important for describing the specific type of noun, or they could be adverbs or adverb phrases. But nouns are certainly the main thing to look out for. Let's look at some examples. Here we see an example text. This is from a true or false question. 2 different students, student A and student B, have underlined different words in this text. First, let's read through it. One of the biggest challenges facing the Bowerston Rural Committee concerns the strategy used to monitor the overuse of antibiotics, which are found to have been administered to livestock. Now, you may not understand the meaning of that sentence as a whole, but have a look at the keywords which these students have identified. Which student has identified more useful keywords for getting the general meaning of the sentence? Student A or student B? Look at the first question below this video and choose the correct option. Student B has underlined more useful keywords than student A. The first one is challenges. So this is talking about a difficulty. Before the word challenges, we have one of the biggest. Now, superlatives and comparatives are often good keywords to underline. But here, it just says one of the biggest. It doesn't mean the biggest, just one of. So that's actually not helping us that much with meaning. Facing the Bowerston Rural Committee. This is the name of a whole organization. So we want to keep that together. It's not separate words, it's one noun phrase. Concerns. Concerns means is about. So that's not so important for the meaning. And then we're talking about the strategy for monitoring the overuse of antibiotics. So all of those words are going to be important for establishing the meaning of this sentence. And then we have which are found to have been administered, which basically means given to livestock. So these antibiotics were given to livestock. So that verb phrase is actually not giving us that much meaning there. So as well as being a complete noun phrase, Bowerston Rural Committee is also a proper noun. We know it's a proper noun because it starts with capital letters, B, R, and C. Proper nouns are very useful things to identify as keywords because they don't change form. They're always the same and they don't have synonyms, generally speaking. And also those capital letters are often easy to identify in the text. Can we think of some more examples of proper nouns? Have a look at the next question below this video. I'd like you to choose 3 more examples of proper nouns. The options are academic subjects, people's names, jobs, places in the world, companies, or animals. Look at that question and choose the 3 correct options for proper nouns. So the 3 examples of proper nouns are people's names, like David or Dr. Smith, places in the world, like Japan or Barcelona, and companies, like McDonald's or Samsung. Remember, proper nouns are one of the first keywords you should identify because they'll always be immediately recognizable in the text. In the reading test, while you are underlining words in the question, you should be thinking of synonyms or different ways of saying these words, because the text will often be different to the questions. Let's take 2 example keywords: livestock and antibiotics. Can we think of some synonyms of these words? Not all words have synonyms, and some words have lots of synonyms. So let's focus first on antibiotics. Have a look at this list and see if you can find any synonyms of antibiotics. Look at the next question below this video and choose the correct option out of A, B, C, D, E, F, all of them, or none of them. So that was a bit of a trick question. The answer is none of them. Antibiotics is a more scientific word with a very specific meaning. It doesn't have any synonyms. This is actually a good thing because it means if we see it in the question, we will probably see it exactly the same in the text. Now let's think about livestock. Look at the next question below this video and decide, does livestock have any synonyms? The options are A to F, all of the above, or none of the above. Choose the correct options. Livestock means the animals which we keep on a farm, for example, cows, sheep, or pigs. So cattle is an approximate synonym, and of course, farm animals is an approximate synonym. So this is a useful activity to do in preparation for the exam. Practice reading things, identifying keywords, and thinking of possible synonyms that might match to those sentences. Now you are going to practice underlining some keywords. Here is a sentence from the same text and questions as we looked at before. Let's read it. However, according to Bird, it is the predators who have the greatest impact on whether or not the rewilding project will be successful. So let's imagine we want to match this sentence to a similar part of the text. What keywords would we underline? Look at the next question below this video and choose which of these keywords we would underline. There are 6 options to choose. Okay, let's identify those keywords. The first one is bird. It starts with a capital B, so it's a proper noun. In this case, it's probably a person or maybe an organization. The words however, this is a linking phrase that connects it to the previous sentence. It doesn't give us the main message of the sentence. According to is just an expression to say bird said this. Next, we have predators. This is a noun. It's essential to the meaning of the sentence. Then we have a superlative, the greatest. So if we're looking for a matching part of the text, we're going to be looking for something that agrees with the idea that predators are the number one impact or the number one effect. On whether or not the rewilding project, this is a whole noun phrase. So it's a project about rewilding, so we can treat it as one word. And finally, successful. So we're determining whether the project is successful and it's predators who have the most effect on this. Who says this? Bird. So when we look at the text, we're going to be looking for somebody called Bird talking about predators having a big effect on a rewilding project's success. So see how just from these words, we can get an idea of the meaning of the sentence. So one of the reasons for underlining keywords in the question sentences is to be sure of the meaning of those sentences. Underlining keywords helps us identify that meaning better. The second reason we underline keywords is to help us think of synonym matches in the text. In many types of question, such as true or false or sentence ending matchings, we're going to be looking for parts of the text that correspond to the question. When we do this, we read the text and scan for synonyms or related words. Underlining keywords in the questions helps us put these in our head. Let's look at an example of this. Here we have a new question sentence. Let's read through it and identify some keywords. Rutherford's model served as inspiration for Bohr's insightful publication in the early 20th century, in which the Danish scientist outlined a new theory for the basic structure of the atom. So the first thing I notice is the proper nouns. We have Rutherford and Bohr. So these are probably the names of people or possibly the names of organizations. I've also noticed there's a lot of scientific language. We've got model, we've got a new theory, and we've got the structure of the atom. We've also got the word scientist, but I suspect because this is a scientific topic that most of the people here are scientists. However, we know that one of the scientists is Danish. This is a nationality and it has a capital letter there, but it's an adjective. It means from the country of Denmark. Other keywords are inspiration. So we've got one thing inspiring another person. They're focusing on a publication. Insightful is just a positive adjective of that publication. And they also give us a time, the early 20th century. So we're going to be looking for something in the text related to that. I'm going to show you 3 new sentences. I'd like you to decide which one has the most matches of synonyms to this text. A, B, C. I'd like you to read through those 3 sentences and decide which one has more matches with our sentence. Look at the next question below this video and choose the correct option, A, B, or C. Sentence B has more matches to our first sentence than the other 2. But there are matches in all of these sentences. Let's see why B is the best match. Here, I have underlined the keywords in different colors. Let's have a look at those texts again and see those matches. In sentence A, Denmark proved to be his final resting place, but the country's dramatic coastline inspired some of his greatest works as he approached the end. So Denmark and Danish should ring some alarm bells in our heads. There's a connection there. Inspired is a different word form of inspiration. So often you may not get a synonym, but you might get a rephrasing using a different word form. Here we have a noun and here we have a verb form. B. In his 1912 paper, he adapted Ernst Rutherford's nuclear structure to Max Planck's quantum theory and so created his Bohr model of the atom. 1912 matches to early 20th century. Rutherford and Bohr, well, we have perfect matches there. Again, those proper nouns are often really useful for finding matches. We've also got the words structure and model, which are the same as in the text. So words which have specific scientific meanings often stay the same. This is also true for atom. So we've got lots of matches here. Most of them are direct matches, and one of them is a kind of synonym paraphrasing that carries the same idea. C. Model. We've got a match here. However, if we look at the context of the sentence, we can see it's talking about a different type of model. Many models in the 1950s, like today, worked through agencies that contracted them out to publications such as Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. So the word agency, publication, Vogue, these make me think of fashion. So here we're talking about fashion models. So this is a false connection. Publication is the same here, although this text is probably talking about a scientific publication, whereas here it's probably a fashion magazine. So let's think about what kind of keywords we should be looking out for. One of the main ones is, of course, places. Look for countries, look for towns, cities, locations in general. Organizations, so this could be companies or charities or groups which are trying to achieve something. There will often be multiple examples of these in one text. Time periods and dates. These are often very important for locating information in the text which corresponds to the question. Animals, plants, words where there is no synonym. So, for example, horse, there is no synonym for horse. So these are surprisingly good things to identify. I'd like you to think of some more types of words that we can underline as keywords. Look at the next question below this video and choose 3 of the options which are good types of words to underline as keywords. The options are acronyms or abbreviations. So that's words made up of the letters of other words, such as UNESCO, UPS, or FIFA. Prepositions, like in, on, or without. Italicized words, so that's words that are shifted a little bit. Academic or scientific words. Repeated or common words from the text, so words that you see very frequently in the text. Or linking phrases, such as despite this, as a result, or so. Choose the 3 correct options. So good words to underline are acronyms and abbreviations. These are very often organizations like UNESCO and FIFA. They're good because they're very easy to find in the text because of the capital letters, but as well as this, they're often key for the meaning of the text. Italicized words are also important to underline. In academic texts, we often use italic letters to show words which come from other languages or have a very specific technical meaning. Therefore, these will be very important in making matches because these words will not change. Academic and scientific words, again, these often don't have synonyms and they're good words to underline. Linking phrases are generally not useful as keywords, they just connect ideas and sentences. Repeated or common words in a text, well, if a text is about elephants, for example, then you're going to see the word elephants lots of times, and this is not a useful keyword to help you identify different sections of the text. And of course, prepositions, those short words, are not necessary as keywords. One type of keyword which is good to look out for is adverbs of frequency. Here, the adverb of frequency is rarely. So it is rarely the brightest students who go on to have success in the world of business, but rather those who are willing to put in the hours. Here, rarely carries a very strong meaning, and it's easy to ignore these words, but actually it's very important. So in the text, we'd be looking for synonyms related to never or not very often, or this doesn't often happen, for example. That is the end of class 1. Now it's time to watch class 2 and then do any of the extra training and practice activities on this topic. Remember, if you have any questions for us, you can click on that chat icon at the top of your page there. If you click on that icon, you'll be able to send us a message with any questions that you have. Thank you for listening.